Today we're crowning the 1982 World Cup champion in PS 2008 on the PlayStation 2. In the first semi-final, Italy faced West Germany. The semi-final between Italy and West Germany at the 1970 World Cup in Mexico is considered one of the greatest matches in soccer history. The fans at the Bernabeu in Madrid were hoping to witness a similar spectacle, and they were not disappointed. Striker Paolo Rossi is set up by Altobelli and leaves Schumacher with no chance. But the Italians' lead was short-lived. The Germans had too much space, and Dremmler got a shot off. Although he hit the post, the ball bounced right to the feet of Bayern Munich superstar Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who had no trouble tapping it in. The standout player in the early stages of the match in Madrid was striker Paolo Rossi. Barely more than 10 minutes had passed when the crowd was already treated to the third goal of the evening. Following a cross from left-back Cabrini, Rossi, who had already set up the attack, scored his second goal of the evening with a header. The Germans pushed for the equalizer, but Italy's goalkeeper Dino Zoff, the hero of the quarter-final against Poland, put in another strong performance today. But Germany struck back in the second half. Rummenigge shone this time as the assist provider, and Horst Hrubesch, usually known more as a heading specialist, surprised Italy's defense with his uncharacteristic dribbling skills. Even Zoff seems astonished, and can only watch as the ball flies into the net. Italy's defense was in disorder at this stage, and the German team sensed an opportunity to turn the game around. After losing possession near their own penalty area, the ball found its way to Kaltz, whose crosses to Horst Hrubesch were feared throughout the Bundesliga and at the World Cup as well. The second goal by the Hamburg SV center forward gave West Germany the lead for the first time that evening. Italy found themselves behind for the first time and tried to fight their way back into the game, but right winger Bruno Conti shot the ball wide of the goal. On the other side, Hrubesch goes for another header, but this time it goes just a little too high. The game was breathtakingly exciting and intense. The Italian team continued to search tirelessly for an opportunity to equalize. Fiorentina midfielder Antonioni, one of his team's best players in the tournament, found himself one-on-one with Schumacher at the end of a series of passes in the penalty area and slotted the ball past the Cologne goalkeeper. The equalizer, making it 3-3, sent the match into extra time. Neither team took any risks at the start of extra time. The intense 90 minutes had already taken their toll, and so it wasn't until the start of the second half that Rummenigge had the first scoring chance, but Dino Zoff was there to make the save. The Italian squad proved to be very strong and deep, and so it was various players who shone throughout the tournament. After Bruno Conti had to be substituted, Franco Causio took his place on the field, and the 33-year-old winger from Udinese was set to make his mark that evening. His goal to make it 4-3 put the Squadra Azzurra back in the lead, but the game wasn't over yet. Germany didn't give up and fought until the very last second to equalize, but the Italian defense, led by Fulvio Colavati, managed to hold on to the lead. Italy is in the 1982 World Cup final. In the second semi-final, host Spain got off to a better start against Brazil and had the first chance. A free kick by Eder hit the post. Goalkeeper Arcanata had misjudged the ball and was almost caught off guard. A little later, Socrates tried a long-range shot. By then, the South Americans had taken control of the game. Dirceu, a right winger under contract with Atletico Madrid, was one of Brazil's standout players in the tournament and set up Zico with a perfect pass. Flamengo's number 10 kept his cool and put his team in the lead. Brazil proved to be too strong for the Spanish team. Falcao's shot hit the post, but Socrates was there to finish it off. The final will be a rematch of the 1970 final, and Spain is left with only the third-place match against West Germany. Both teams were, of course, still reeling from the disappointment of their semi-final losses. The coaches made several substitutions and fielded their second-string players today. Young midfielder Lothar Matthäus and center forward Klaus Fischer were among them and put their team in the lead. However, Spain's best player in the tournament, Juanito, started again today, as he still had a chance to win the Golden Boot, and set up Enrique Saura of Valencia CF, who scored the equalizer. The first and only direct free kick goal of the World Cup decided the match. Once again, Saura was on target. Spain is celebrating a redeeming end to its home World Cup, and the Germans will also be able to get over today's defeat. The players can now look forward to their well-deserved vacation. July 11th, 1982. In Madrid was the day of the World Cup final in Spain. The match between Brazil and Italy was a rematch of the 1970 final. Back then, Brazil won decisively in Mexico by a score of 4-1. Brazil's path to the final took them past Northern Ireland, Austria, and France in the group stage, as well as Yugoslavia, Belgium, and Spain, with the South Americans playing with great confidence for the most part. Italy had to fight harder. In a tightly contested group with Algeria, Czechoslovakia, and Belgium, they finished in third place, advancing to the round of 16 by a single goal. There, however, they defeated the reigning world champions, Argentina, 3-1. They then beat Poland in a penalty shootout and Germany in extra time. Everything is set for the grand final. The coaches of the two teams were Tele Santana and Enzo Berzot. Both relied on their well-established starting lineups. The Seleção had the first shot of the game just over 10 minutes in. However, striker Serginho's attempt was too weak and missed the goal by a wide margin. Italy's winger Bruno Conti of Roma had been forced to leave the field due to injury in the semi-finals, but did everything he could to be on the field for the final. However, after a tackle with Eder, he was unable to continue. Surprisingly, Berzot did not bring on Causio to replace him, but instead sent on Graziani. The first half was dominated by tactical play and lacked highlights. Socrates' shot was one of the few on goal, but it didn't really trouble Dino Zoff. But things were set to improve in the second half. It all started with a free kick by the Brazilians in their own half, which was immediately cleared back. The Italians had actually already lost possession again. But after a fatal loss of possession by Junior, it was Paolo Rossi who put his team in the lead. But Flamengo's left back immediately made up for his mistake by taking a corner kick for Serginho. The Brazilian center forward headed the ball in to tie the game at 1-1. Brazil now put the Italians under pressure and tried to score a second goal right away. At the end of an attack, the ball found its way to Dirceu, who aimed for the near post, but Dino Zoff was once again in top form and was ultimately voted the best goalkeeper of the tournament. The game seemed headed for extra time when Italy rallied and went on the attack. In the meantime, Berzot had substituted Graziani again and replaced him with Causio, and once again the Udinese player proved to be a stroke of luck. His pass found Altobelli, and the Inter striker scored the celebrated 2-1 goal in the 90th minute. Italy's third World Cup title was within reach. Finally, the final whistle blew, and Captain Dino Zoff was presented with the trophy. The Italian team weathered one setback after another and refused to let the critical press back home throw them off their game. Brazil has suffered a bitter defeat. Even the most entertaining football in the tournament wasn't enough to win the fourth trophy. We congratulate Enzo Berzot's team on their success. Horst Hrubesch was the top scorer with 6 goals. 3 players each had 3 assists. Dino Zoff was named best goalkeeper, and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge of Bayern Munich was named the tournament's best player. That wraps up our series on the 1982 World Cup in PS 2008 on the PlayStation 2. We hope you enjoyed it and that it has inspired you to recreate your own historic World Cups. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon with new content on this channel.